What up, though? Thank you for pushing play on the Lion's Roar vlog. We are on chapter 54 of the books of Adam and Eve. Book one. We're going to go ahead and jump in. Now, I'm going to say this. The entire book up to where I am right now, every word is posted on my YouTube page under the playlist entitled The Books of Adam and Eve. All you have to do is go to the first video, which is the introduction, which you should definitely listen to. And it was not an introduction that I did. I read the introduction. So it gives a background of the book. It gives a really good sort of a synopsis of what's going to go on in these two books. It starts at the introduction and it comes all the way up to chapter 54 where we are. You should definitely catch up. But you can listen to this where we are. You just may be a bit lost. So let's jump in. Chapter 54. Then Adam and Eve stood up in the cave and prayed the whole of that night until the morning dawned. And when the sun was risen, they both went out of the cave, their heads wandering from heaviness of sorrow, and they did not know whither they went or where they went. They didn't have any sense of direction. That's what that means, whither they went. If they went, they went. They knew how to get back to the cave, but they just didn't know like what they were going to do. They just didn't know. And so like they just kind of they're figuring things out, like I've been saying. It doesn't mean that they got lost. But it just means that they didn't have any sort of direction. And they walked thus unto the southern border of the garden, and they began to go up that border until they came to the eastern border, beyond which there was no farther space. And the cherub who guarded the garden was standing at the western gate and guarding it against Adam and Eve, lest they should suddenly come into the garden. And the cherub turned around as if to put them to death, according to the commandment that the Most High, or that God, had given them. I want to say something right here. All right, I'm just going to mark my place where I'm at. Okay, so, something that I just thought about, right? A lot of people would say, well, how do we know all of this information if they're the first human beings? Well, who wrote this? First we got to know, when you read the introduction, you're going to find out that this book in particular was written in Egyptian. It was an Egyptian writing. So that's a major key in helping us understand the Hebrew who had the affection towards caring about these beings here, because he would have known that because of those beings and because of the lineages from that point to where he was, Moses was able to get all of the information that he needed. How? Because the Hebrews were they're incredible auditories. I hope that's the right word. They're incredible at passing things down audibly, passing lessons down, passing history down, passing names and ideologies and just different things, passing it down and making sure that the information is accurate and it sticks. Eventually, they were able to write and document things. Remember, you have to understand, in the beginning of the Bible, in these books of Adam and Eve, you must understand that these are early, if you want to say primitive humans, but they haven't even gained at a certain point, they hadn't even gained maybe the knowledge of writing. It had even maybe crossed their mind. Speaking and passing things down orally that's how they pass information down. So whoever wrote, because we just have to be realistic. The author is unknown, But when you put two and two together and you hear that this is written in Egyptian and it's Hebrew and it's relating to the scriptures that the Most High who comes through the Hebrew way, not the Egyptian way, not Kemet, not the Kemetic science. This is happening through the Hebrew way. Okay? So who would have been the one to pen this book? A Hebrew. Who was a Hebrew that was in Egyptian lifestyle, who would have learned Egyptian writing, who would have known Egyptian dialect and just if that's the only thing he would have known to be able to communicate with, or at least to be able to document this early what he heard about the first humans, because the Hebrews were passing it down audibly, orally, if you will. Moses, hands down, Moses. It's definitely written early enough to be attributed to him. And it makes sense. Think about it. Who else around this time that comes from them would have known Egyptian? And you also have to think about this, and I've said this before in another video. Moses, or Masha, if you will, because Moses is just a translation, okay? Moses, dang man, I forgot what I was about to say. Oh, come on. Come on. Anyhow, point of case, I just had to say that there. Let's go ahead and get back to the text. We're going to keep this thing real. When that happened, it happened. I'm going to keep it pushing. I'm not about to go back and edit that. It's going to be in there. Maybe I'll remember what I was trying to say. I kind of want to remember, but I don't want to kill the video. Well, he's a Hebrew. Moses is a Hebrew, but he doesn't know it. Okay. This is what I was trying to say. Okay. Thank you, Most High. Thank you, Spirit. So they say that Moses penned the Torah. He was behind it. Moses didn't know how to write Hebrew, and he couldn't have learned it as quickly as he would have needed to have penned all this. So we have to really think about that. Here's a man who has lived an Egyptian lifestyle his entire life, and then the Most High awakens him. He's not, now he starts to understand he's part of the culture. He's hearing it from his mom. You got to understand, he probably was hearing some rumblings about himself. You got to understand, women, they talk, they gossip, even back then, I'm sure. You know there was some beautiful Hebrew woman going up to Moses saying something, you Hebrew. You need to come on over here and be with me, Moses. I'm just saying, maybe he heard some rumblings, who knows? But at the end of it, even when it comes down to the Torah, it would have probably been Aaron or Miriam who would have been the one, or anybody else, maybe as Moses is, or perhaps as, because he's the leader at this point, quote unquote, and because he's the guy who's hearing, maybe as they're telling Moses all these things, like this is the beginning, and they would have known why, because they're passing things down orally. Adam and Eve would have definitely told all this to their children and their children's children, and it gets passed down, and it eventually ends up in front of Moses. Moses hears it, and perhaps as Moses is sitting there hearing these things, he says, hey, let's get this down. Let's get this down. Or perhaps they were already, perhaps they were already had the writings, and perhaps the information comes out about Adam and Eve to Moses, and he writes it in Egyptian. You understand? Maybe it's just pressed upon his heart that, he's like, man, I got to write this down. And he ain't got nobody in Hebrew around. You understand? And he just keeps going with it. So go listen to the introduction. It kind of gets into some of that stuff. But let's go ahead and jump through this real fast. I want to finish this. I don't want to be too long because this is a sort of a longer chapter per se, like kind of like what we've been coming across here. This is a bit longer chapter. Like the earlier chapters were really short, so I was able to put like 2, 3, 4, 5 chapters almost in the same video, and it would be like 30 minutes. Now I kind of gotta stay on it. So let me hurry up. And I'm still leaving my commentary responding. Hey, by the way, if you are if this information resonates with you, hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. Please share this with someone, like it, leave a comment, let me know, hey, like I love it, I hate it, you suck, whatever. I don't care about God, I love God, whatever you feel like you want to say, leave it in the comment section. Okay. And by the way, this is my time to say go Pistons. I'm a huge Pistons fan. My Detroit Pistons are in the playoffs for the first time in so long, man. Them boys, these boys right here, they the truth. Watch what I say. They're gonna do something in them playoffs. I'm not saying that they're gonna win a championship. I'm just saying that Detroit they on something this year. They on something. All right. When Adam and Eve came to the eastern border of the garden, let's get back to the point. Thinking in their hearts that the cherub was not watching as they were standing by the gate as if wishing to go in, suddenly came the cherub with a flashing sword of fire in his hand. And when he saw them, he went forth to kill them, for he was afraid lest God should destroy him if he went into the garden without, or if they went into the garden without his order. Listen to that, is deep right there, because now we have another higher being that's like, I'm not about to mess with the Most High. Yeah, I'm good. I saw what he did to Lucifer and them ones who paid obedience to Lucifer. I'm not messing with the Most High. I'm good. I'm good. Y'all ain't getting up in here, dog. You ain't about to get me. You ain't about to get me dotted off. I ain't about to be with Lucifer and his minions. I ain't about to be with Lucifer and his minions. Okay. And the sword of the cherub seemed to flame afar off. But when he raised it over Adam and Eve, the flame thereof did not flash forth. So that's interesting right there. Okay. Well, his sword was a flame from afar off, but as he raised it over Adam and Eve, the flame did not flash forth. That's very interesting. What do you think that means? Some of y'all who are watching this and you kind of, you're a deep thinker, maybe leave it in the comment. What does that mean? Cherub seemed to flame afar off, but when he raised it over Adam and Eve, the flame thereof did not flash forth. Interesting. Maybe they could, I don't know, maybe they could control the flame. Perhaps this is, I don't know. Let's just keep reading because I don't want to sprinkle my questions in there and start confusing people. So, therefore, did the cherub think that the Most High was favorable to them and was bringing them back into the garden, and the cherub still wondering. Now, you know what I was just about to say? Oh, man, God, this stuff, I love this stuff because I should have said it. I was going to say, I wonder if it's the Most High that caused that sword to not, because the cherub knew in his heart, he's like, look, man, I'm about to take these cats out. Think about that now. Even the cherub is like, bruh, I will end y'all. So the darkened one, Lucifer, already trying to get rid of him because he hate him. The cherub is like, bruh, you not about to get me dotted out here. I'll take y'all out before you get me dotted. That's a loyal general right there, that cherub. Higher being. So I was going to say that. I'm like, I wonder if that has something to do with the spirit of the Most High, that fire. Is this metaphorical? Like, what's going on here? What is it? You see, was it the intensity that got dialed down with them trying to get back into the garden because they're so distraught? We got to read in between the lines here. In the church I grew up in, the pastor used to say, read in between the white parts where there's like the letters are black, but then what's going on in them spaces that they ain't really saying. You kind of got to use your context clues and be smart and be wise and research, right? Line upon line, precept upon precept. And even though I'm not necessarily taking that approach with this vlog, I could, but No, the Most High told me to read through this stuff and just be real with y'all as I read it, because I be having questions and then they get answered as I read. So whatever, it's gonna get flipped on his head if I say something that's stupid. What it is, what it do. I'm just saying. How you doing? Therefore, did the cherub think that the Most High was favorable to them and bringing them back into the garden? And so he wondered, because he's like, man, why you stop me? Because they tripping. Right? So right here, that's very intricate, because then we have to look at these higher beings got a little bit of pull and push and leeway, because he's about to take out the creation, the humans, rather, the human creation, for trying to please the Most High. And Lord Lucifer, Satan, devil, if you will, which again are all labels, but the leader of them darkened ones, okay, who was a high one, as we know, as it's been written, he was trying to kill him because he hates him. So that's very, and they can move like that. So the spirit is having to maneuver and block anything that's outside of his will towards the humans. Think about that. That's deep right there when you really think about it on both sides. All right. So let's keep going. He could not go up to heaven to ascertain or to be able to get assurance, the most God's order or the Most High's order regarding their getting into the garden. He therefore, so maybe he can't. That's interesting. Well, I wonder why he just wouldn't petition. Like, hey, what's going on with this right here? That's interesting to me. Why would he have to go back to? Now, see, that makes me wonder if this is metaphorical, because it's like, just as we talk about states of mind, states of heart, if you're in a higher state of heart, if you're in a higher state of mind, you got to be closer to the Most High. I mean, I'm not even saying literal, like, I'm saying like, just in your spiritual, mental, emotional, energetic, vibrational state, right? But then if you drop low, what are you going to be closer to? So I'm wondering if this cherub is like, because of where it is, it can't get through. So it has to wait. I don't know. I'm just reading, but let's just deal with this as literal as we see it, okay? Let's just, not figuratively or metaphor, let's just deal with it as we're seeing it. Like this, like I've always maintained, this could be layered, and they definitely were coming across these beings at their state. Like a few videos ago, I said it. I'm like, yo, look at how amazing humans are. And this is not to put humans over the Most High at all. But look how amazing humans are. Look at the technology, this AI stuff, the technology. Look at the things that they build, the things we've been able to achieve with the Creator's mind in us, even with all the sin and evil and crazy and darkness that's been going on, which is on, I'm telling you, it's starting to be phased out. It ain't gonna happen overnight, because the trajectory ain't been overnight. But look, the trajectory went like this. We are on our way. This is the ground, the trajectory about right there. I'm telling you, it's close. It's close. It's closer than what everybody think. And it ain't, again, it's not an overnight, over month, over 10 years thing. It's closer than what everybody think. So this thing can be really layered. Like, the humans are amazing. We've evolved from the Adam and Eve state, their state. You understand? We have seen totally different things on the planet than they have seen. They wouldn't know anything about no computer, car, AI, gun, you go down the list, man. They wouldn't know nothing about it. Meanwhile, go all the way back to their time. We can't, it's hard to fathom, like, these beings and the swords and all this stuff. Was it really a sword, or was it a staff of fire? Was it a metaphor, or is it literal? Like, hey, they got some kind of javelin or something, and it's so bright that it looked like fire. Maybe that's what it means. Maybe because what is fire? Very bright, very hot, very intense. Let's just keep reading. I don't want to get too too left. And I only got a little bit more time here, because I got to stay on point with the time thing. So, okay. So the cherub could not go up to heaven to gain God's order or gain the Most High's order regarding getting into the garden. He therefore abode, standing by them, unable as he was to part from them, for he was afraid lest they enter the garden without leave from God or without permission from the Most High, who then would destroy him. When Adam and Eve saw the cherub coming towards them with a flaming sword of fire in his hand, they fell on their faces from fear and were as dead. Now, this is very interesting because up here it says, but when he and the sword of the cherub seemed to flame afar off, but when he raised it over Adam and Eve, the flame thereof did not flash forth. So maybe that's kind of like a precursor to that. Maybe that's like a piece of writing to let us know what the sword at a certain point looked like this, but then when it finally when he brought that sword up against him, it looked different. That right there, just between this verse and then the next verse, that's 4 different verses, and then down here in this verse it says something a little different. That's when you got to start looking at, hey, maybe this thing might be a little bit more prophetic, metaphorical, sort of a picturesque, if you will, to break down and understand like what was being said. Are they in a mental state of being where they're trying to get back into the garden, and so there's something blocking them that was so intense that maybe the Most High had to dial it down because it would have killed them to try to get back in the garden? I don't know. Let's just keep reading. Okay. Right now, like I said, we're going to deal with it literally. We're going to deal with it like this is literally what's happening here. So when Adam and Eve saw a cherub, flaming sword of fire in his hand, they fell on their faces from fear and were as dead. Or when I don't know, man. Let's just keep reading. It's very interesting stuff, though. At that time, the heavens and the earth shook, and other cherubim came down from heaven to the cherub who guarded the garden, and saw him amazed and silent. Then again, other angels, other higher beings, came down close unto the place where Adam and Eve were. They were divided between joy and sorrow. They were glad because they thought that the Most High was favorable to Adam and wished him to return into the garden. That's very deep. So there you have beings that love the humans, that have an affection towards the humans, that's looking at us like, they already been around. So they might be looking at the humans like animals or pet, like, oh, look at them. They're so cute. Yeah, maybe, you know what I'm saying? They got that sort of affection. And they like, oh, great. They about to get back. Some of them are happy. And they wish to restore him to the gladness he once enjoyed. Adam, that is. The man, the first man, first woman. So these higher beings, they, like I said, they sound like they got a little bit of pull, but not over the Most High Spirit. Okay, let's read. And we on the final verse. But they sorrowed over Adam, the ones who did, and probably eventually the ones who were joyful, because he was fallen like a dead man, he and Eve, and they said in their thoughts, Adam has not died in this place, but the Most High has put him to death for his having come to this place and wishing to get into the garden without his leave or without his permission. That's deep right there, man. These higher beings is letting us know right here that the spirit of the Creator does not play games when it comes down to it. And I know it. Once you hit the age of accountability and you really know, like, this is wrong, this is right, I'm going to try to figure out, to do the right thing. But you got some people that just love doing the wrong thing. They don't care. They're very nonchalant. They're very ignorant. Ignorant does not mean stupid. So don't get offended there. I'm not calling nobody stupid, because stupid is stupid does. Ignorant means, yeah, you know the right way, but you just gonna keep on just ignoring because you just want what you want. You ain't trying to hear that. You're gonna come up with 700 billion excuses. They're gonna be elaborate excuses. And if the person is not careful, they're gonna fall for it. Them people, you know. But you really gotta look at what's being said right here. It's extremely deep. Because he's like, man, like, they thought, because remember, Adam and Eve fell down in fear over the cherub. So when the other beings showed up, they like, what happened? And they like, man, the Most High put them to death for having come to this place and wishing to get into the garden without his permission. Think about this. They knew that, and the cherub knew that. So maybe they like see the cherub standing over them, and then they like, hey, well, dang. Because you had something that was joyful because they thought they was about to get back in. They don't have a clue. They like, man, we on higher things. We just down here to see what's going on. We gathered because we hear what's going on down here. We trying to make sure everything okay. And then boom, they see Adam and Eve in the state that they're in, and it sort of confuses them. Like, wait, what's going on? Like, what, are they getting destroyed or are they getting let back into the garden? Man, I wish I could go. You know what? I'm going to read the first verse as a preview. I'm going to read the first verse from chapter 55. Then came the word of the Most High to Adam and Eve, and raised them from their dead state, saying unto them, why came ye up, or why did you come up here? Okay? Why came ye up hither? Look, hey, they were not talking like that. They weren't even, who knows what they were really talking, but they weren't talking no English, and they definitely weren't talking like that. That's just the translation, okay? So understand that. Why have you come up here? Okay? Do you intend to go into the garden from which I brought you out? It cannot be today, but only when the covenant I have made with you is fulfilled. You are not getting back to that higher place, to that higher spiritual ground, to that higher essence, to that heaven, to my spirit, to feeling that completeness, in me, the joy, the love, joy, peace, patience, my spirit. What's the fruits of the spirit? Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, mercy, faithfulness, self-control, giving. Hope, all positive things, positivity, so on and so forth. Okay? Benevolence, probably empathy, sympathy, right? He's like, you're not getting, you can't, you gonna have to fight to even have that. And when we watch the Hebrews all the way up into the death of the Messiah, they went through so much just to for the Most High to stay at the helm. You understand? When they probably didn't have to. After Yeshua's sacrifice, after the Most High, like he told Adam and Eve, I'm going to come in your bloodline as a human, and I'm going to sacrifice my blood, just like you tried to do to prove to me that you wanted to get back in the garden. It touched his heart so deep, it moved him so deep. He literally told him, this is how I'm going to move and give you salvation later, but you are not getting back into the garden. You cannot get back right now. I've already went over why I feel that is in other videos up to this point. Go ahead and listen to them. This video is right about where I needed it to be. So y'all be blessed. Hit that subscription button. Thank you for coming back, pushing play on these. Those of you who are, I see you watching. Okay, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. Go ahead and subscribe, please. Hit the notification bell. You will help me out greatly. If you want to help me out, that's how you can help me out. Okay, y'all be blessed. Go Pistons. Deuces.